This is Things You Might Not Have Heard, where I'm going to present for you in moments yesterday's latest in information, politics, current events, and pop culture. And today is literally a today thing because as the World Cup is going on, we get a chance to do breaking news more or less inside of today's edition of your news morning update. I'm Jay Clifton Payne, bringing you your go-to supplemental source of information, both for the mainstream news and some unconventional stuff going forward. We let you tell us what to talk about by going to what we call our feeds, and you vet the stories we chat up. We're going to give you 8 stories, or actually 9 stories today because of World Cup news, to get you into your start of your day for your coffee chat, your buzz chat, whatever you're chatting about. We have you covered. Now, we'll explain how the feeds work and how things go along. And of course, we're opening up, or we're going to get into Paul Reubens, the loss of Paul Reubens, i.e. Pee Wee Herman, as you see in the teaser graphic today. But we'll get to all that coming for you in just a moment. Now, make sure you stop by our website. This is conversationproject.com, our main website. More details about what we do, how we do it, where we do it, to save time in these things for chatting back up. Give us about 12, 14 minutes to get to the news stories. Then we'll go into that explanation, and we'll also have fun stuff at the end. So stay tuned. If you eat all your broccoli, ice cream is coming, I promise. Now, today just happens to be Tuesday, August the 1st. Yes, the 8th month of the year is here. We are already, 7 months down, 8 months down if you want to, and you're almost running out of time. Still time available, but almost running out of time for this year. Our first story for this Tuesday, August the 1st, happens to be this one here. Now, the headline reads, Alicia Navarro's mom makes emotional plea after public's dangerous fascination with missing person case. Jessica Nuez, who is the mother of Alicia Navarro, made a plea on the Finding Alicia Facebook page for people out there who are now so obsessed with what happened to sort of back away and let what happened be happening, as opposed to all the people who are doing what they could to find her. Now that she's found, it's just turning into a way where there's just way too many people and things are getting really dangerous in the public eye, as it's gone from trying to help find Alicia to trying to find out what exactly happened in the whole case. Her mother is pleading for people to give them some space, give them some privacy, and just, not be so weird, for lack of a better term, for stuff. One of the weird things about the true crime genre as a genre is people believe they are invested in the story, invested in the person, especially if it's something like a missing person case where they're looking for someone who could be potentially alive, as opposed to someone who has been murdered where the story has been written and then you just take a side. Here, people want to know what they want to know, and that's part of the problem. We don't know yet. We'll know soon enough, as she literally just showed up in police station like days ago. So let's see what's happening as this one comes up. This one will probably be as weird as the boy that was missing that wasn't missing. This one we'll have to see played out, though. So the mother of the missing woman is asking people for a little space so they can get to the closure part soon. We've got 2 double slides today, just because the stories basically came together. Yesterday, early in the day, we heard about Pee Wee Herman actor, of course, Paul Reubens, dying at the age of 70. He died of cancer, and one of the odd things is he sent a message to his fans that he apologized for basically not telling folks that he was sick, dealing with cancer for the last 6 years of his life, doing performances, doing appearances, being Pee Wee Herman, and looking pretty good at doing it, but unfortunately, he was doing it sort of in pain. A lot like what we saw with Chadwick Boseman when people just started making fun of him because all of a sudden he was skinny, only to find out that he was literally battling cancer for a long period of time and being in roles, big time roles, while doing it. We are mourning the loss of Pee Wee Herman, who has been all over the X, if you will, shouts of all the characters that he engaged with on Pee Wee's Playhouse, all the characters he engaged with in other things, his time doing Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the original movie that inspired the comic and the TV show, and many things that he has done as Pee Wee Herman. Of course, bringing up, his little time he had to deal with after that theater incident. But in all other things, we are glad to have this. I think we had Paul Reubens as a birthday recently, so we are very sad to have to talk about him on this case right here. We are definitely mourning the loss of Pee Wee Herman. The other loss we had yesterday, late in the evening, we found news of Angus Cloud, one of the stars of Euphoria, dead at the age of 25. And this is a sad story because literally about a week ago, he buried his father. And now the family is burying Angus Cloud. Not very much in the way of, I could not really skim through to see what the deal was, what actually happened. But his family was surrounding him as he passed yesterday in a very peaceful sort of manner. So we are mourning the loss of both a legend, that's Pee-wee Herman at 70, and Angus Cloud, who essentially was on his way to maybe legendhood at his own at 25 years old yesterday. A worker who uses AI for a $670 monthly side hustle says ChatGPT has cut her research time in half. So if you haven't learned how to use your ChatGPT, you need to go ahead and learn it, because it's not so much killing jobs, but it's making more jobs more effective, more efficient. And, basically it's not the great performer who's going to get the loss of a job. It's the really, really bad performer who, who they don't have capacity to do background checks and maybe some sort of quick level of task reading, of proofreading. Now, the problem with this story, you have to do these stories because ChatGPT is it, and it's always pulling things. So I did the math on it, and based on the number of hours she actually works in this thing, only earning about $670 a month. It is a side hustle, by the way, so $670 is a good chunk. But for the amount of work she actually does, if she went the long way, it only comes down to about an $8 an hour job. So in that case, the $20 a month you pay for ChatGPT, I guess it's worth it because it makes things work a little faster. But you would think that for what she's doing, it would make her a bit more. Now, maybe it's just for the love of the job, if you will, that she's doing it, or just the fact that it's turned into what it is. But if she was working that much harder before, maybe the whole point is, and she's not working on the far end of time as opposed to the near end of time going forward. That is what is there. Now, side hustles aside, one of the big things that about using these things for whatever is that your side hustle sometimes becomes a drain to you. Make sure you're not doing a side hustle and it draining you and your resources. Make sure it's worth the effort or fun enough to keep doing, and make sure that you, in some cases, don't get caught. The lawyers who write a brief that was totally nonsense, yeah, they kind of got caught. Double stories for Biden today. Number one, Biden decides to keep Space Command in Colorado, rejecting move to Alabama. This is a bit complicated because Space Command was put in Colorado, Colorado Springs, a few years back. Donald Trump decided he was going to move it to Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama, because they had this capacity in space and all that good stuff. The problem is the Space Command commander said it's not a great move right now because the facilities won't be done until 2030. That's 7 years from now. Even though everybody said that Huntsville is the best place to have it, Colorado Springs turned out to be fifth on the list, Huntsville number one. But Joe Biden says it's going to stay in Colorado, at least for now. And we're hearing this because Tommy Tuberville says this is basically backlash for him blocking all the appointments in the military. Essentially, Colorado or Space Command is saying it should stay in Colorado for military readiness, while Tuberville is affecting military readiness by not approving any sort of approvals of any promotions or movements of appointments to people. So there's your stalemate. Is this a practical thing based on the Space Command commander, even though the Air Force commander says this should be in Alabama? Or is this Biden finding out that, or I should say Tuberville finding out that when you F around with Dark Brandon, you will find out, and he found out pretty harshly with this loss of jobs and money for the moment. Second story on Biden is jobs for us. Biden administration launches new income-driven student debt repayment plan. And with that plan is a brand new website. The SAVE plan, which is going to help come through after the Supreme Court basically knocked out essentially him just snapping his fingers and like Thanos and having everything go away, will have people apply through their website to see if they qualify for loan forgiveness, essentially. Look for the website very, very soon. The website, I think, has been launched and has been beta tested, and you can start seeing if you can qualify for billions of dollars of student loan debt being wiped away by this plan as opposed to the other plan, unless the courts fight this one as well. Way to go, Brandon. Knock those things out of the park. Threads has lost half its users, according to Meta's chief Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg says that the app had 100 million users in its first 5 days, and about half of those users are gone. And the reasons why are pretty simple. there's not much to do with Threads. Threads is not a fully developed app. You can't do all the things you can do with the Twitter/X, and you can't do a bunch of the newer things you can do with the Instagrams or the TikToks. It's basically there as a placeholder, and I'm saying that from my experience from using it. I open up Threads, I have my account, I've not erased it because I don't want to give up my Instagrams, but I can't do what I want to do with it. I can't get stats out of it. I can't post ahead of time. I can't, use it from a web-based thing because I'm not on my phone all the time. I can't type all those things in my fingers. I've got little baby girl hand fingers. They don't work so well. So it's something that Zuckerberg has to deal with. While he did get a little bit of a jolt, taking a bit of the steam out of Mr. And we'll get that guy later, Mr. Elon Musk, going forward, he also found out that he effed around and found out that this isn't going to last quite as big without putting some more weight into that one. Why we didn't do a double screen on this one, I'm not quite sure, but Elon Musk reactivates Kanye West's Twitter account following the X rebrand. He also had to take the big X off of the ceiling. We'll talk about that tomorrow probably. But Elon Musk reactivated Kanye West's Twitter account following the X rebrand. So Kanye West is back on the Twitter after being blasted for having a tweet that said, and I quote, "Go DEFCON 3 on Jewish people." That was essentially the straw that broke Elon's back and took him off. Or I think Elon wasn't even in charge at the point. But that's what pulled him off the platform for reals. Now he can't be monetized. There will be no ads in his feeds. And we don't even know he's going to use it yet. But we do know that Twitter has sort of did a weird thing for their speech policy program. And some of the people with the worst speech are now back on speech. And we'll see if this speech for Kanye, or Ye, as he goes by these days, is working for him. And finally, U.S. slips into the round of 16 of World Cup after scoreless draw with Portugal. Women's World Cup, should say. This literally happened as I was compiling all the rest of the data for today. So we put it in here, and this one gets a pass on any data. We put it in there for your engagement to see if it comes up for the weekly wrap-up based on what your numbers say. But we're putting in there because it is breaking news, and it only matters right now for this day going forward on Wednesday. A scoreless draw with Portugal means they did not get the win they needed to advance. They're in the knockout round, the round of 16, which means win or go home at this point. They will probably face Sweden in the first round on Sunday. Their game's expected to be 5 a.m. on Sunday. That's where there's so much placed as a placeholder based on where they ranked out. We'll see how things play out going forward with the rest of play happening for today, or tonight, I guess, over in Australia. And we'll see how things will play out for the team. The swan song for Megan Rapinoe and the four-peat for U.S., not exactly in the bag anymore, as the most dominant team in literally a decade is showing that it's not so dominant this year, and people are grasping at the chance to get a shot at USA and finally put the stake into the heart of Team USA's women, who have been dominant for oh so long. Let's go to our teaser story for today. The teaser story is, well, we get a chance to tell you what the feeds work out, how that works out there, and it's a chance to give you a chance to see what we can talk about tomorrow and how it all works. Our teaser story for tomorrow is this headline: former Arrow star Stephen Amell condemns SAG-AFTRA strike. Quote, "I do not support striking." All is not happy in the world of writer and actor land, as they're currently striking for better conditions of working in Hollywood and basically all over. Stephen Amell is not exactly down with the fight. He is a member of their union, but not exactly in with the struggle, because he doesn't think the strike, at least for the actors realm, is all that great of an idea. Do you want to see his point of view by checking out the article and talk about this tomorrow? You go to our feeds on Facebook and Twitter, or X, facebook.com/This Is a Conversation Project, and on X.com or Twitter.com. You go to th_conversation. What you do is you just engage in stories. Literally, the engagement of the story gives us the idea what we're talking about. Like it, love it, hate it, share it. Do what you can to engage in that actual story, and we will bring it up tomorrow. Now, tomorrow and the rest of the week, we go to the top 15 stories that are pulled every single morning, and then we give you 8 of those stories. Today, we gave you 9 because we had this extra story we pulled out for the women's soccer. We just sort of pulled that in there because it was relevant, and we can do that because, we're adults. We can do that type of stuff. But most times it's going to be 8 stories throughout the weekday. On Mondays, it's 10 stories out of 30 because there's so many more stories to pick for the weekend. You get a chance to put your 2 cents, 4 cents, 6 cents, 2 bits, 4 bits, 6 bits, $1 of your thoughts and details into what we're talking about every single day with things you might have heard, and on the weekends for the weekly wrap up by just going to the feeds and telling us what we're talking about. You don't get a chance to pick the sponsor we're talking about, but you can get a chance to pick any sponsor that we have at our website. This is the conversationproject.com/sponsors. Today, we're spotlighting Resume Solutions. Now, as I said, it's the 8th month of the year as of right now. If you're looking for a change in your life, and one of those changes might have been, hey, I need something else in my career, now's the time to get on it. Resume Solution will help you, and they basically guarantee you some interviews. Can't guarantee you the job, but they'll do a quick look at your interview. They'll do a background check for your CV, help you rewrite things, help you do some coaching. They'll coach you up for your interviews. And when you get that interview, you will do much better with that. Instead of going in blind and seeing an ad and saying, oh, I got this. They'll make sure you got this by checking your actual stats. Like it's like you're a video game guy. You look at it and say, this is his stats. This is his power ranking for TPS reports. This is power ranking for actually getting reports done. This is how much time he can spend focused on the monitor all day long. Your resume can be put in order so it actually makes sense. All of your actual skills, all your goals, all your accomplishments, all your past jobs that actually make sense, the ones that, that fry basket job, no longer relevant. Replace that with some other thing out there. They will help you put it out together with Resume Solution. Go to our website and see them so they get the affiliate love for us. This is a conversationproject.com/resume solution. This is a conversationproject.com/resume solution. And even if you're not looking for a new job, it's always good to try to see exactly how you stack up. So check them out and get that resume massage to a much better look. And maybe that job sort of falls into your lap and you'll be ready with it on the trigger. Pull out your resume and go. Use Resume Solution and use our link, our affiliate link, to help us keep things going here. We're going to do a quick dive into us, if you will, going to talk about the Conversation Project. We live at this is a conversationproject.com, or the website lives. I live in the physical space, of course, but the website is online at this is a conversationproject.com. And if you like what you see here, we have a couple asks. Number one, follow us on our feeds. If you're new to us, follow us on our feeds on Facebook and Twitter. And that's the best way to show us that you love us, because you're literally showing us what to talk about every single weekday morning. It's just that simple. Number two, we have a presence all over the internet in videos and audios and newsletters. Find those, read those, watch those, share those with other people, get more people engaged in our conversations. And the big asks are, if you want to help support us, visit our sponsors page and visit our sponsors. They will pay us back with affiliate links, or go to our partnerships page and see if there's a way you want to partner up with us directly. There are various different ways to do that and things to help. The most important thing that I always get out of the order is just send us an email with what you think we've got going on. The conversation inbox at gmail.com. That's free to everybody. Send us an email and let us know how we're doing, what we can do to improve, what we can do to keep things going the way they are. And we will do our best to incorporate all the good comments that we can get. And we thank you in advance for anything you're willing to share with us. Now, as I said, we got through the broccoli. You ate all of your veggies. Very good for that. Time for ice cream. Time for the fun stuff, as we have every single weekday morning here on Things You Might Have Heard. And we start our fun stuff every single weekday with birthdays. And we hit the 8th month of the year 2023 with big birthdays for Chuck D, 63 years old on the day. Chuck D, not so much fighting the power, but, being the capitalist, although it is doing stuff in the speaker circuit and saying what he had to say. A big influence of my younger days as Public Enemy was essentially a voice for the voiceless of young black men at the time. Now, of course, he's more or less a emerging scholar because of the age. Not speaking the same language of hip hop he was back in the day, but still speaking the language and trying to show the young folks how it needs to go. 63 years old on day for Chuck D. My girlfriend, wannabe girlfriend, Tempest Bledsoe, is 50. Now, you hear me say often in this things how I call people my soon-to-be ex-wives, because, well, I have the current wife, and if I ever got lost her, the other folks be in line. Tempest Bledsoe was a girl I had a crush on for quite some time, and yes, it was all about the Cosby Show. 50 years old on the day. She's still doing great. Unfortunately, I think my chances have passed. And everybody crushes on Jason Momoa because he's just so freaking awesome. 44 years old today on Aquaman, on the blind guy in Sea, on the guy from Stargate. He's just it is what he is. Jason Momoa is like the cool guy everybody wants to be friends with. I'd love the chance to hang out with Jason Momoa, although I'm pretty sure he'd just kind of blow me off because I'm not that cool, unfortunately. No shame. No shame. Just fact. History lesson for today. Going back on the 1st of August in 1889, it rained ants in Strasbourg, Germany. That's all we got. In 1941, the first Jeep was produced. Parade magazine devoted 3 pages to the Army's most intriguing new gadget. The little truck made by the Wiley Company proved so valuable in World War II that General Dwight Eisenhower said the U.S. could not have achieved victory without the Jeep. In 2022, a Brazilian woman discovered ants had built a nest inside her Kindle reader and have been purchasing books. So we bookmarked things today. I guess that's where we went the ants theme today. So first, it rained ants in Germany, and then some ants got into her reader and bought a whole bunch of books. Her Kindle reader and bought a bunch of books. Worse than kids because they bite, I guess. For today, celebrate the first day of August with a homemade pie. It is homemade pie day. Now, who's got time to make a homemade pie? Nobody. So celebrate the day with a pie from the store that says it's homemade, even though you know it's not. Get a Patty LaBelle pie because they're not really homemade, but a recipe's in there. If you have somebody who's got the time and seen this thing as I'm recording this thing, I'm currently live at 6:10 in the morning and saying, you know what? I have time to make a pie today. Love those guys all you can because they are heroes in my sense. I'm probably going to get an apple pie from McDonald's because who's got time for homemade pie? It just doesn't happen. But today is the celebration of homemade pie. Maybe you can postpone your homemade pie celebration to the weekend or something. I don't know. It's whatever you have time for. I'm just pretty sure that pretty much nobody has time for homemade pie on a Tuesday. I don't make the days. I just report them as they come down the list. And finally, one more thing you might not have heard. Parents will have 2,184 arguments with their children yearly. Researchers polled 2,000 parents of children ages 2 to 12, and each day in the average household, families have disagreements 6 times a day. Parents will only win over half of those arguments, with 6 of 10 moms and dads admitting they often compromise to keep the peace. As a proud father of a very cocky, very strong-willed, very kind of stubborn 11-year-old, I can say 2,184 times a day seems like a low number. It should probably be a bit more, and I think the compromise, giving up on it, that also seems a little low too. Don't tell JJ. I am Jay Cleveland Payne, and this has been Things You Might Have Heard for Tuesday, August the 1st, 2023. We are 8 months in. I'll say that over and over again because, it's a crutch. But we're 8 months into the year, so if you got big plans coming up, share them with us, and we'll help you do what we can to get to that. I also have other content that's along the lines of personal development and professional development and things like that, and some business stuff too. So maybe one of my other More Better Media platforms can help you push forward in those things. In the meantime, we want to push forward in your Tuesday, your second day of the week, because that's kind of important in all get out because it's early in the week. We have a long way to go, and we want you to be here with us. We want to remind you to stay limber, stay hydrated, and stay on task for all the grand things you're here to do. And if we are doing good for you, make sure you stop by our feeds and keep us working. Give us things to talk about. And stop by our partnerships page as well. See if there's ways to keep us going. We're going to wrap it up for today and prepare for a long day that I have personally going forward. So we'll do all that stuff. Let's do that. And you have a great day as well. Let's get together again on Tuesday. I'm sorry, it is Tuesday. On Wednesday to talk about Tuesday's news. Shall we?